Hello everyone, my name is Eugeniusz Romer and this is the YouTube channel of Układ Sił, a foreign policy magazine from Poland. And today I'm hosting Galiya Ibragimova, an expert in the field of Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and also a contributor to Układ Sił. Hello Galiya.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello. And we are discussing the situation in Moldova and Transnistria. As far as I know, you are based in Chisinau, in the capital of Moldova. But I think I will start from Transnistria, because the situation there, as far as I read in the media, is really bad in terms of the lack of gas and the lack of electricity coming from gas. So, you visited Transnistria recently, so what can you say? What happened there, and who is to blame for this situation?
Yes, a situation was very difficult. Why I say was, because now it seems to me that it's quite stable. Starting from February, people who live in Transnistria, they also have central heating and electricity, and it is thanks to the European Union grant. And it's very unique situation for this pro-Russian region, because the authorities there and people there, of course, all this time, they were waiting for Russia's support, because they know that Russia will do its best to support people who love Vladimir Putin, and they wait Vladimir Putin. And even at the beginning of war, Russian soldiers, they say that they are going, first of all, to invade in Odessa, and then to build some kind of bridges, and then to invade to Transnistria. And a lot of people who live in Transnistria, they really support these ideas. And really, when this energy crisis starts, people, almost 10% who lived there, and of course it's mostly not young generation, they think that Putin will come and would do his best. And they wait during the whole January, and nothing happened. And it was very strange, because during the whole January, and it is one of the coldest months, even in Moldova, there were no any reaction. Just Maria Zakharova, the representative of Minister of Foreign Affairs from Russia, every day she spoke about some kind of neo-Nazi in Moldova, and with her very strange notes about situation here. But on the ground, there were no any kind of sensible support. And it was really unexpected that European Union, they realized that it couldn't last long, and they supply the grant for Moldovan authorities. And for this grant money, Chisinau, they bought gas for Transnistria, and thanks to this money, they could supply themselves also with electricity. And of course, I start how this story developed, because even now we realize that everything is normal, but we cannot be sure for 100%, because what's happened there from the beginning of this year was really very sad.
So maybe let me stop you here, and I will ask you about how this situation started actually, because from the beginning of this year, Ukraine has stopped the transit through its territory of natural gas from Russia to Moldova. to also to other countries, but Moldova was and Transnistria, they were influenced. And but when you read the media, you may find information that actually the Russians were the ones who stopped delivering this gas to this region. So who is to blame here? And is there any other way that natural gas from Russia can get to Transnistria, for example, or to Moldova, not through Ukraine?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's very good questions because, frankly speaking, it's very difficult situation, and people even here they don't understand till the end who is the blame in this situation. Well, if to analyze from the beginning, Ukraine authorities they told that they would not prolong the agreement with Russian Gazprom about transit of gas. And the first declaration of it seems to me, at the end of 2022. And in 2023, the Prime Minister of Ukraine, he confirmed it officially that Kiev would not prolong this agreement. And it seems to me that all parts of the crisis which happened starting from January 1st, they were not ready to achieve this reality. They, till the end, continued to believe that something fairy will happen, and Ukraine would continue this transit of gas. And Moldovan authorities, for example, they could never believe that Russia won't supply gas for Transnistria. And Russia itself, it seems to me, despite the war, Putin believed that they will find some kind of decision and continue the transportation of gas through Ukraine territory. And everybody put the responsibility on the other side till the end. And when January 1st started, the gas supply stopped. And of course, it is, objective reason of it. Ukraine side in advance told that it would not prolong gas transportation. Okay, and what about Russia? At the end of December 2024, Russian authorities, little by little, they started to understand that situation is very difficult. But the main reason which they told to Moldovan authorities why they stopped the supplying of gas to Transnistria is not Ukraine, but the debt of Moldova. And what they mean under these debts, it's also very big and very delicate questions. There are two parts of this debt. One, it's so-called historical debt, and it's due to the gas which Russia supplied to Transnistria without any money payment. And it's just on the words. And there is some kind of account, and on this account, they put and they count how much money Transnistria should pay. And they say, okay, Chisinau, if you want us to believe that Transnistria is the part of Moldova, then please pay this historic debt of Transnistria. But when this crisis happened on January 1st, Russia asked not this historic debt. They asked the debts of Moldovan side. And what does it mean? During Dodon, Igor Dodon, it is a president, the previous president of Moldova, and before Moldova, there were also some pro-Russian parties and representative. For example, President Vladimir Voronin, he is also from Communist Party, and for a long period he was a president. And generally, during the previous years, there were some kind of debts of Moldovan side. And when a Russian representative of Gazprom count these debts, it was about $700 million. And when the government of Maya Sandu come to power, they ask independent auditors to estimate, is it really such that the debt is about 700 billions, and these independent auditors they analyze all documents, and they come to conclusion that in reality the debts of Moldovan authorities is just about $8 million. And so the government of Maya Sandu, they said to Russian side, okay, we are ready to pay for you these $8 million as our debts. And of course, Gazprom say, no, we confirm that you should pay us these $700 million, and after when you close all these debts, we shall start the supplies of gas. So, from objective point of view, we realize that Ukraine stopped transportation of Russia gas. Russia didn't take any kind of action in advance to support at least Transnistria, but official reason which Russia proclaimed that it was Moldavian debts for the gas which they supplied during the previous years.
All right, so it sounds really complicated, but I assume that Russians actually are using this argument to not deliver the gas to Moldova, for example, and to Transnistria, because in Transnistria there is a power plant that also supports Moldova. So why Russians are doing that? As far as I know, there is going to be an election in Moldova. Last year we had presidential elections, and the current president, Maya Sandu, she won, but only thanks to the help of the votes from the Moldovan expats in Europe, for example, or in other parts of the world. And many people say, and the polls also say that actually the situation in Moldova and the pro-European, pro-Western stance could be changed after these elections that are going to take place, the parliamentary elections this year. So do you think that this whole situation was orchestrated by Russia to influence Moldovan politics, actually?
Well, my questions would be yes and no. From one side, when you live in Moldova, every day I hear a lot of conspiracy theory. And a lot of experts in Moldova, they really believe that it was special plan of Kremlin who organized this energy crisis. And of course, the main purpose of it was to destroy pro-European government in Moldova. And whenever something happened in Moldova, a lot of people who support pro-European government, they blame Russia, and they see a Kremlin hand around it. But frankly speaking, if you ask my point of view, as I said before, Russia, they till the end believe that something fairy and magic will happen, and the gas supply would continue through Ukraine transit. But when this crisis happened, Russia, it seems to me, till the end of January, did nothing. But even if Russia didn't do anything, it doesn't mean didn't do anything in energy sphere, in the sphere how to support people, pro-Russian people who live in Transnistria, to organize some kind of plan how to support Transnistrian people, because the main thing that they have alternative routes for supplying this gas. They can organize the delivery of gas through Trans-Balkan pipelines, and even especially for discussing these questions, the Minister of Energy of Moldova, now we should say ex-minister of Energy of Republic of Moldova, Viktor Parlikov, he visited St. Petersburg in the end of November of the previous year. And the main reason of it, he would like to know whether Moscow is ready to start deliver this gas through Trans-Balkan pipeline. And do you know what Alexei Miller, the head of Gazprom, answered to him? Okay, we shall support Transnistria if you want, but first of all, you should agree with Kiev that they shouldn't close this transit, and it is your problem how you will discuss of it. And the next reason, as I told before, if you want us to organize this alternative delivery of this gas through Trans-Balkan pipeline, you should pay for your debts, as I explained before. And it was two main reasons. So about political situation. When this crisis happened till now, Russia promised Transnistrian authorities that, okay, we should do something, but nothing had happened. Till now, Transnistrian people, they receive all these days gas, which Moldovan authorities buy for them for EU money. And about political aspect of it, but even if Moscow didn't help to Transnistria, it doesn't mean that it couldn't use it in a political aspect. And of course, this energy crisis is a good opportunity for Moscow to destabilize situation in Moldova. Last year in Moldova, there were president election, and the result of this election showed that the position of the President Maya Sandu is not so stable as all experts believe it should be. And Maya Sandu won this election just thanks to the Moldovan diaspora. And also, she held this pro-European referendum. And the result of it was confusing for the pro-European government here because it's 50-50 almost. And Russia realized that it could play on this space. And energy crisis is a good opportunity to destabilize situation more active. And of course, now Russia tried to do everything to to destabilize it in a way and to come to power pro-Russian parties. And even now, we can realize that all these energy crises influence negatively on Moldovan side. And you know, it's very tricky situation because from one side, people who till now support pro-Russian ideas, they criticize Moldovan authorities that during all the January, Chisinau did nothing to support their people in Transnistria if they believe that Transnistria is a part of Moldova. And people who against Russia, they criticize Chisinau for their support of Transnistria. And they say, if you try to help Transnistrian people even with this money of European Union, it means that you support these separatists from Transnistria. It is a very popular power in Moldova till now. People who support, how to say that, Romania and Moldova is just one. It is just one country, and in Moldova it calls. Uniria. I don't know how to translate it correct in English. And and it's very difficult situation for Moldovan authorities from two sides, from those who support Russian and from those who against Russian.
So how do you think what is going to be the result of these upcoming elections to the parliament of Moldova? Do you think that those pro-Russian forces will have a majority in the parliament and could effectively block the pro-European course that Moldova has so far undertaken?
It's very delicate situation and not so easy as it can seem. From one side, a lot of analysis specialists on situation in Moldova, they predict that the ruling party, they would lose the majority in the parliament. It's not just due to the fact this energy crisis. There are a lot of regions. The war in Ukraine, the crisis with refugees from Ukraine, and it influenced much on economic situation in Moldova. And of course, everything is uncertain with security situation because the war is close to our borders. And all these components, of course, it's influenced negatively on the ruling party. And adding to all these difficulties, energy crisis is like the last stone which can destroy this ruling party, and they really could lose the majority in the parliament. And that is why Russia try also to play its role here. And as for me, I think now it's very important how European Union will react on this crisis. And why I mentioned before that it's really unique situation that EU decided to give this money to Transnistria and support it. Because if Moldovan authority overwhelm this crisis, there is a chance that at least they could construct some kind of coalition in parliament with the same pro-European parties. But they can, of course, stop this energy crisis. And if European Union ready to play more stronger and not too afraid Russian, because it's very difficult situation for Brussels also. They realize that till now in Transnistria there are Russian militants, and how they can react if EU would support Moldova and Transnistria stronger, for example. We realize that Russia bombed Ukraine and the ports close to Moldovan part. And from one point of view, it is very good that Brussels show its readiness to support Moldova. But from the other side, sorry for this pathetics, but from the braveness of EU, much, how to say, it will influence whether the pro-European forces in Moldova could win in coming election. It seems to me it would be in July of this year.
And you mentioned Russian forces that are stationed in Transnistria. So many believe that those forces are not very strong, actually. It's about 1,500 people, and they are mostly rather elderly, I would say, delicately, and they are not really very well equipped. And also the support lines from Russia are cut because one way of supporting them comes through Ukraine, and Russia is at war with Ukraine, and the other one is through the Black Sea, and here also Russian ships, they encounter problems because the Ukrainians shoot them. So do you think that actually the military presence of Russians in Transnistria is an issue, is a problem for Moldova, for the European Union? And do you think that those influences are actually very strong, Russian ones? I mean, in terms of propaganda, of political influence, because this region is is dependent on Russia, but also actually not geographically close to Russia and tied to Russia.
Yes, thanks to geographic situation of Moldova, we have no common borders with Russia and Ukraine. It really, how to say, support our security in Moldova. And it's very complicated questions. Also, like everything in Moldova, it's very small country, but very complicated. And in Transnistria, really, the certain number of the Russian militants there, it's about 1,050 and
500
militants there. About the equipment, nobody knows for sure. Yes, starting from 2020, there is no regular rotation, and they cannot come to Moldova through Chisinau airport. And of course, when the first Ukrainian war in 2014 started, Ukraine closed its territory for regular rotation. And we should mention here that so-called independence of Transnistria during the previous 30 years, it was also from one side supported by Ukraine, because Ukraine provides its territory for Russian militants to, to rotate these every period. I don't know how often they should rotate, but only when the war, when they occupied Crimea and the first war in Donbass started, only at that period, Ukraine closed its territory and Russian militants couldn't go to Transnistria. And when Maya Sandu come to power, they closed even Chisinau airport. They couldn't rotate even by plane. And it's really very difficult situation, and nobody knows what kind of specialist among these militants. And as many people in Transnistria say, a lot of them are locals. They have Russian passports, but it's in reality, they were born in Moldova, and in the decision to become a part of these militants was just high salary. Because it's very difficult to find normal work in Transnistria, and this military group, the previous years, it's provide not bad money. And about their competence, how they will react if something happened, nobody knows, but we can suppose that there is no such patriotic enthusiasm among these militants. And if, for example, something will happen, I'm not sure that they would stand with weapons for Russian world. They know about Russian world just from TV, and I'm not sure that they are ready to die for this Russian world. But as for European Union, it's very delicate questions, because Moldova want to become a part of EU, but EU couldn't accept the idea that Moldova in international borders, and it includes Transnistria, could become a part of EU till the time there are Russian militants. And there were different ideas. For example, the first step is to become to how to say, to let Moldova become EU member without Transnistria. But as for me, I think it's really a threat for people who live in European Union. I not believe that, for example, people in Poland, in Hungary, in Great Britain, in Germany would accept the idea that a small country with Russian militants inside would become a member of EU, especially if we see what's happened in Ukraine. And now situation is also delicate. From one side, as I explained, it seems that this military group is not so strong, but how Russia can react if something happened. For example, there are a lot of ideas since the war in Ukraine, the big war in Ukraine started in 2023. A lot of people how to say, they think that it's not a big problem, for example, for Ukrainian army to enter through Transnistria and by the force to unite Transnistria with Moldova. But we don't know how Moscow can react. And
Yeah,
what
I heard such opinions in Poland as well,
yes,
that the Ukrainians actually could invade Transnistria and get rid of Russian forces, and let's say it could lead to the reunification of Moldova and Transnistria. And it sounds a bit off, but on the other hand, actually, the Ukrainians, they did it in the Kursk region, right? They invaded Russian territory, so it was literally Russian territory, not region controlled by Russia, but formerly a separate region. So do you believe that this could be possible, that the Ukrainians invaded Transnistria?
if you would ask me these questions 2 months ago, I would answer for sure that no, I don't believe that Ukraine will invade. And the main reason why I didn't believe in this idea, it was the position of Maya Sandu, and she has quite friendly and close relation with Vladimir Zelensky, and she asked him, as we know, many times not to invade. And Maya Sandu and Moldovan government, they also proclaimed the idea that just with peaceful negotiation, we can come to reunification of Moldova. But now, situation with this energy crisis was so nervous, and nobody till February didn't understand how to react on it. And there were among the experts and among some sources that, for example, when Maya Sandu went in January to Kiev, that maybe they really discussed something. And what if really maybe with some kind of different scenario, and maybe they even could realize. I try to find words because the official position of Moldovan authorities is just peaceful negotiations with Transnistria. But who knows? Who knows? And it depends on how Russia will react. And I think that Kiev and Chisinau and Brussels, they are afraid a little bit that there will be not normal reaction of Russia, and Moscow could both even Transnistria, despite the fact that here a lot of people support Russian ideas, and they could explain it that somebody want to destabilize situation with these military Russian groups, and they again will come to support their pro-Russian force. And it's a complicated situation, and all sides they watch what's happened. And thanks God that European Union step by step try to find some kind of decision how to find some kind of clue to this crisis. And even now, Russia decided that it would supply gas to Transnistria through Hungarian providers and very difficult diversity schemes. I don't know. And but till now, there is no Russian gas. And what will happen in 2 days, in a week, nobody knows.
Yes, but until the Russian forces, which I think could maybe be called tripwire forces, are stationed in Transnistria, the situation is more complicated. So thank you very much, Galiya, for this very insightful interview. I'm looking forward to discussing more Eastern issues with you. We are going to meet here regularly. So thank you for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting. Bye.
So I was talking to Galiya Ibragimova, an expert in the field of Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and a contributor to Układ Sił, which is a Polish foreign policy magazine. Many thanks to our viewers. Goodbye. So